he's a true giant of the silver screen. But Danny DeVito's new role may surprise you. It's his 7 deadly sins. Does he say he only has eyes for you, but they're all over every other woman that walks by? We'll show you how to knock those wandering eyes back in your direction. Your Man and Lust. And he's burning up the charts, and he's breaking hearts. Sexy pop sensation Duncan Sheik performs his smash hit, Bite Your Tongue. All that and more, next on The View. It's gonna sound...
A very novel idea. Let's talk about sex here on The View. That's a stretch, Ross. Actually, there is a fat... Barbara?
What? I didn't say a word.
All right.
Hello. I haven't seen you all in a minute.
No, you haven't. That's why we want to talk about sex, because actually there is a fascinating article in More magazine, and it follows our sexual behavior through the decades, starting with the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I realized that at this table, we have pretty much been having constant sex for almost half of a century. When you think about it. I mean... about it. Now, I'm going to, the 40s, maybe not. In the 40s, until you said I do in the 40s, you didn't.
That's right.
Have sex. Okay.
You were real virgins in the 40s,
yes.
Not technical versions like Debbie talks about.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
no, but men were going to war in the 40s. There was nobody to do it with.
And you also didn't talk about it because you didn't know anything about it, right? According. Yeah. And then the 50s was where you, like, ripped off the bra and the girdle, right, Barbara? That was when you kind of, boom.
I remember the 50s very well. They were my finest days. Well, remember, first of all, there was no birth control pill.
That's right.
You had to be respected, you know. And not only did you never have intercourse, I mean, you'd go to the movie, and if he'd put his arm around you like this, it was a sort of a big deal. It was a very puritanical time. We were terrified of getting pregnant if you ever did anything.
Well, abortions
were illegal.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah.
So did you then not do anything? Was that basically what happened, or you...
You got married young. No, really? I mean it. Well, you did, because you never lived with someone. Your parents would kill you. Yeah. So you got married very often. A, to get out of the house, you know, and B, because this was the only way you could have sex.
Get some is the word you're looking for.
Thank you. Also, in those days, we did not know the expression "get some."
All right.
I was sort of on the cusp. I was in high school in the 50s, and then I was married and in college in the 60s. I'm very old. And I was a virgin until I got married. I mean, I was such a virgin, I thought Doris Day was a slut. I mean, I was good. I was a good girl. Were you a good girl?
As long ago.
Who remembers? Who can?
Yes.
But
some things you remember.
There were some girls in college who were having sex, premarital sex. They were doing it.
But that was the rarity, yeah.
Well,
But you know, I got married late, and I was 24. And when you think of it, that was late. All of my friends were married.
Yeah.
And see, I was the cusp. I was the late 60s. I went to college in 71, and I never will forget the first day I was at college. All the girls went to the nurse's office to get birth control pills. It was expected. It was handed out almost like candy. And I remember desperately wanting long-term relationships because I didn't like this idea of a one-night stand only being a one-night stand. And I never did. I mean, I had a lot of one-night stands.
I miss the sexual revolution completely. And I said it before, but I resent it. I don't know about you. I do. I resent it.
But it's not.
The fact that our lives were so circumscribed. But the birth control...
it wasn't as good as it was cracked up to be, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's great to preach free love, but, you know, a lot of people, I was lonely a lot of the time. Just having sex doesn't get you much.
But there are two, the sexual revolution in general and the women's movement in general changed things, but there were two huge milestones. One was the birth control pill, and that is that you could have sex without being afraid of being pregnant. And the other, of course, which came much later, which came in the 80s, was...
mine.
What?
That's my era.
And that was?
AIDS. It changed the way most people... I went to college in 1979, and so the 80s were really my decade. And everybody, you almost had to have your little sheet of paper there that said that you had had your AIDS tested. Another thing is, a lot of people came out during that time. You know, you understood what homosexuality was. People actually talked about it. You would see gay people walking down the street. You had not really seen that as much in the other decades.
Holding hands?
Holding hands. I mean, of course, walking down the street, but I mean holding hands and being very comfortable with that and expressing that they, too, had long-term relationships in contrast with everybody just thinking, oh, they're just going out and doing it.
But I wonder when you came of age, how much of that has to do with the way you define yourself? You know, that's the point I was making. Like, I value having a long-term relationship so much because at the time that I came of age sexually, it was all about just jumping into bed with the next guy you saw.
Really?
Yeah.
We missed the whole thing.
But it's not good.
Well, maybe it's not too late.
It is too late.
No, well, that's actually the 90s, and they're talking about the fact that a lot of young people don't think about the AIDS epidemic like we thought about, you know, in the 80s, that because you kind of can keep it under control, at least in theory, and you can deal with the condom, and people are not worrying about it as much as they do.
But also now you have young men and young women, boys and girls, being friends. We didn't have platonic friends. We had dates. We had if he doesn't call you Saturday night, what will I do? Now you see young women out with young women on Saturdays, older women out with older women. It's a very different time, but it doesn't seem to have the same kind of relationships. Again and again, I hear from young people that it's terribly hard to meet guys, and it's very hard to have a relationship.
You want to hear a cool way? And yeah, this woman found a really neat way to meet a guy. She came up with this, a 36-year-old divorced woman. Here's what she did. She threw herself a birthday party, and she asked all of her guests to bring a man as the gift. And they brought men with tags, the whole thing.
I love this.
It's a bachelor, and so she'll find a guy.
Where do you have friends who all know single men? I couldn't find 6 single men in New York to come to a party at a certain age.
A gay bar.
Yeah.
You know, I like this story.
What'd you do? Because you know celebrate your birthday big time.
You know I do, and I sat down, I was up in my dressing room, and I said, let me put Barbara and Bill Getty, our wonderful executive producers, on the spot and say, I would love to do a show, a Sadie Hawkins show, where all the women in the audience bring a single man to the audience so I can pick and choose and finally find the regular guy. Don't you think that's a good idea? All for you.
We have sent you to dating bars.
I know,
We have had you do things on the internet. We have lined up, what are these called? Personnel things we'll introduce. We have introduced you to the best guys one by one. This one's this one doesn't do that. This one my mother doesn't like. This one dropped wine on my dress. This one doesn't have a job. You could fill this entire room with single men. You'd find something wrong.
Yeah, what's the story here, Star?
Now, just tell us what it is.
There are no men like my daddy anymore. That's what.
Okay, let's whip out the psychiatrist. All right, get her on the couch. All right, here, we have one more. All right, since the death of Princess Diana, she has been somewhat exalted.
He's single.
Yeah, and rich.
Oh, yeah, and real available. He's not single. He's with Camilla. I think they're
technically single.
But they can't live together because they were born back in the day when you didn't live together. Go ahead.
Okay, well, all right. So, you know, she's been exalted as a brave woman caught in a terrible situation, but there's this upcoming book that may prove that the honeymoon is over. It's called Charles, Victim or Villain. And it asserts that Diana was actually the first in that couple to be unfaithful and that she would make taunting, crank phone calls to Camilla Parker Bowles in the middle of the night saying that she was going to send someone to kill her.
Who, Diana? They say
Diana would say, yeah, well, supposedly in this book.
Oh, that's nice. And these two are saying that they had nothing to do with the book, right?
Charles and Camilla say they had nothing to do with the book. But what's this going to do to Charles now?
But how would anybody know that Diana called Camilla if Camilla didn't tell somebody, because Diana is dead?
No, but, well, okay, right. But Camilla could have told a close friend who then blabs to the author.
Diana said so much about herself, as we now know, in that book that she wrote with Andrew Morton, which she denied having anything to do with, but the tapes have then been revealed. And Diana was a wonderful, charming, touching girl. She was also a very neurotic, very unhappy, very jealous girl. And all of that may very well have been true. Charles has now become much more loved by the British public. He has a 50th birthday coming up this month. He's evidently raised those two boys very well. And this is just one more piece of capitalizing on...
No, just
I feel bad for the boys, actually, in
This
all of
woman's
this.
getting $800,000 to serialize her book in the newspaper. I'm like, gee whiz.
Have you ever though done that when a guy is dumped you, called the other girl and said anything?
No, but I've
Or the guy?
been nasty.
You have been nasty? Like what?
I'm not saying.
I did something nasty for a friend.
Like what?
I did something nasty for a friend when her boyfriend dumped her.
Yeah, what'd you do?
I called the new girlfriend and pretended to be the mother of his child that he doesn't have. That's right, and said, I want to know where the child support is. I sure did.
Wow.
I sure did.
I am so glad you're my friend.
That girl dumped him like a hot potato. It was great. Made me feel wonderful. Go ahead.
Who's on, Barbara?
Oh, yeah. I'm so stunned. I'm trying to think of who I wanted to do. I have a little list.
You got it, Barbara.
Anyway, every movie becomes an event. We're going to have a very good time because one of my favorite men is here. And now he is a leading man playing a romantic lead, no less. We're talking about Danny DeVito. He will be here next.
We'll be right back with Dan the Man DeVito.
Coming up, we're looking at his deadly sin of lust. Is your one and only one smooth operator when it comes to flirting with other women? If you want him to get the message that you're fed up, we've got the answer.
Danny DeVito might not be one of Hollywood's tallest men, but measured on talent, Danny DeVito is a giant. It's a good thing for us that this Emmy Award-winning actor left styling hair at his sister's beauty salon to become one of Hollywood's most successful television and film actors and directors and producers. Now he has produced and is starring as leading man opposite Holly Hunter in a touching new comedy that deals with two very lonely people who find each other. It's called Living Out Loud. Take a look.
Where are you going?
Liz invited me to this after-hours place downtown called Confession. Oh, it's somewhere in the meat district.
Oh, you look amazing. You better be careful going down to a place like that, dressed the way you are. You look terrific.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
You look very nice in your uniform.
Thank you.
Most loving elevator man I've ever seen. I'm going to go home and take another look at mine. Please welcome Danny DeVito.
Thank you.
I went to see the movie. I shed a tear. I had a
Yes, my
smile. But
darling.
before we talk about the movie, you heard about our hot topics.
Yeah?
I don't want to ask you when you did it for the first time because
Did
that's
what?
not. We were talking about 40s, 50s.
Mean-
When did you become? I was afraid of asking. When did you become sexually?
I noticed
What?
you didn't answer that question.
Which question? About
About when you had it the first time.
You tell me, I'll tell you later.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're not going to tell me.
What,
you
when I
first
did it the
became-
first time?
No, I don't want to know when you did it. I want to know when you
Well, how I
really
did
began- I think I'll move right along. The film. The film is about two lonely people, very different
Yes,
people,
yes.
who find each other.
That's right.
Okay. You are married, happy marriage, 16 years. You got 3 kids.
Yes.
When were you ever lonely?
Oh, well, I imagine, you know, when I was a boy, young boy, in high school, I think I was really lonely around
Why?
between the time I was...
No girls, no dates,
Oh,
no
well, you know,
pals?
no, occasional date. But I mean, loneliness is like, you know, you mean without a woman or without a girlfriend or without... But I mean, you know, when you're a kid growing up, I grew up in Jersey, and sometimes, you know, when you're in the teenage years, that's a
hard.
tough time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? My sisters, I have 2 wonderful sisters who are a lot older than me, so they were kind of like my kind of like my mom's, really. They were, my older sister's 16 years older than I am, and 10 years older than my other sister, Teresa and Angie. And so I didn't have, like, siblings, and there weren't a lot of people around. It was that period of time, I think, was the loneliest, yeah.
You know.
I mean, now I'm going to get my handkerchief out. Life story. I mean, it's really, really rotten, you know what I'm saying? But I'm really happy to be here with all of you. It's so nice.
The funny thing is, there was a box of Kleenex here on the table, and I just gave it to somebody. I said, I don't need the Kleenex there. It's not going to make anybody cry.
No, I won't make anybody cry, I promise.
When you were...
I was 15 when I first got it. What?
Pretty good. I was older, much. Anyway, when you decided you wanted...
Believe that, we'll tell you another one.
When you decided you wanted to be an actor,
yes.
You were 5 feet tall. You were
Right.
not what the leading man supposedly looked like.
Yeah,
And
all
they
the
said
parts
to you,
I've ever played, by the way, in all 30-some-odd movies, have all been characters who were 5 feet tall, so it was very easy.
But did the acting, you know, the coaches and the casting directors, did they say to you, forget it?
No, I never had any of that. The good thing about it was from the time I didn't want to be an actor when I was a little boy. I mean, when I was like, it was after high school. I was like, you know, I was in Asbury and I was deciding what to do. And I'm a big movie fan. Every Saturday and Sunday I go to the movies. And I always thought I could do that. You know, I look up there and I see those guys doing what they're doing. Whatever, you know, whether it was Bogey or Peter Lorre or Cary Grant, didn't matter. I always just wondered, you know, what that would be like some way deep down. And then the good thing about it was my parents always encouraged me to do everything.
So you never felt... You never felt, I'm too short,
I felt that at the beginning that it might be a hurdle to overcome. Yeah. But then as I started going, I understood what it was all about. It's really whatever you are, your personal appearance, being, sensibility, how you are as a character really goes, you can make that work for you. Because, like, for instance, I would walk into an audition, like I did a lot of off-Broadway work in New York and off-Broadway, and like I would go to an audition for everything, and like 5, 6 people would come in, they all looked alike. And all of a sudden I walk in, you know what I mean? And sometimes it was an advantage. People thought, well, this is a unique way to go. And I think that helped me in my career, you know?
You've made it an advantage, and your wife is the most wonderful character actor and comedian. In this film, you're the leading man. You're a romantic leading man.
Well, I also produced the movie, see, so I figured...
Exactly.
Use my noodle, please.
But it must be fun, isn't it, to have that kind of a role?
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great to... Well, Richard LaGravenese, who wrote Living Out Loud, is a wonderful writer. He wrote The Fisher King and Bridges of Madison County and Horse Whisperer.
And this is a love story.
Yeah, it's really about... you know, people who are raging against their loneliness. And Holly's in a particular time in her life where she's just been dumped by her husband. And,
a lot of women, especially in New York, will identify with that.
And she's really having a tough time. She's internalizing all of her pain. And I'm a guy I'm an elevator operator who live in her building, and I've just gone through a tragic loss in my life. And together, they come together
just the right time.
And as friends, they help each other out. It's not a conventional Hollywood ending or anything like that.
Listen, how many times does someone go like this to their elevator?
Yeah.
And I got 4 ladies who want to do that to you, baby.
Come here.
We'll be right back with Danny DeVito.
Coming up. Does your husband suffer from the deadly sin of lust? Have you had it up to here with your guy ogling every babe that comes around? We've got the plan that'll make him see once and for all that he's your man and yours only. And tomorrow, the singing superstar that captivates every generation, Mr. Tony Bennett.
I won't waste your time.
Long time, but I bet you don't know. AFB on ABC. You'll be surprised. See you Saturday.
That you could see some.
Welcome back. We're here with Danny DeVito, who I know is a cigar aficionado, and so
Brought me a
small
stogie. Oh, that's very nice.
Cognac dipped stogie for you.
Well, I think I have one here. See, I have a cigar. I'm not sure where it was dipped, but you can have that.
Oh, I know this. This is an open the sex, right?
Yeah.
Oh, baby, this is good.
That's
You
a
two are
beauty.
very boring.
I'm sorry. Let's talk about something else. Like one of your best friends, or one of my favorite people, is Michael Douglas.
That's right, Mikey D.
And you guys have been hanging out for a long time. Actually, you say he was a hippie on a motorcycle?
No, did I say he was a hippie? Yeah, he was a hippie.
He was?
On a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle?
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Well, actually, Michael and I met in, I think, '64 at the Eugene O'Neill Foundation in Waterford, Connecticut. We were actors, and Michael was up there. He was still at University of California in Santa Barbara, but he was there doing like an intern thing, and I was going through the play. I came in, and we were fast friends. We
He
got
says
together.
himself he was a hippie in those days.
Yeah,
He's talked about it. Yeah.
When I had hair that was down to here, I mean, so, yeah.
You're a bunch of easy riders.
We had a lot of fun.
Weren't you a hairdresser? You were a hairdresser, right?
Yeah, I was a hairdresser. After high school, I was hanging around Asbury, and my sister Angie, she's 16 years older than I am. I was talking about her before, and she had a beauty parlor, and she said, she said, why don't you come to work for me? I said, what am I going to do? She says, I'll send you to school. You become a hairdresser.
Sounds like a line from the movie.
I said, like, what are you kidding me? And so I went to the school. I was really reluctant to go, and I went to the school. And the first day I went there, I came home, I had a big smile on my face.
Liked it?
Yeah, it was 98% women in that place.
That's right.
Oh my God! It was like I was very, very happy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It was very happy. I didn't want to leave the school. Too bad I had to come to her beauty parlor and do the women there. Some of them had 6 hairs on their head. But it was like really very nice.
But you were really a one-woman man, Rhea, and you have said that she fell in love with you at first sight.
She did.
Tell me the story.
Well, actually, I was doing a play. I was doing a play off Broadway, and I was playing a demented stable boy. And I had a hut on stage, and I had the first scene. Curtain opens, and I got a rake over my shoulders, and I'm down at the apron of the stage, and I'm spitting off into the orchestra pit. And a girl comes on stage, this young girl who's the landowner's daughter, who I was in the shed, every once in a while. And she says to me, she says, "What are you doing, Richie?" And I said, "I'm spitting on the swans."
Oh. And that turned her
And that
on.
was it. Yeah.
And that was Rhea?
She was love at first sight.
Rhea was the young girl who came out?
No, Rhea was in the audience.
Oh, you never mentioned that.
Oh, yeah.
Rhea was in the audience,
Yeah.
sees you spitting on the swans, and falls in love with you.
madly in love with me.
Now, wait a second. Something
She's
is
from
missing
Brooklyn.
in
You
this
know about
story.
this, right?
I'm spitting on the swans. That's what it takes to get a woman. All
How
right,
do you keep it all together, you and Rhea? You got 2 kids. You're
3
busy.
kids.
3 kids.
3 kids, yeah.
She's busy. You're busy.
Rhea's actually working right now. She's doing, this play, The Last Night of Ballyhoo?
Yes.
She's doing it in L.A. She's
That's
doing it at the
right.
Cannon
I
Theater.
loved
Yeah,
it.
really good.
And you're also doing the Andy Kaufman story.
We're doing Man on the Moon, it's called. And we're producing it. I'm in it. So I have the mustache. I'm playing a guy named George Shapiro, who's the nicest man in the world.
That's Seinfeld's manager,
Yeah, that's
George
right.
Shapiro.
That's right,
Yeah.
George, yeah. And Jim Carrey is playing Andy Kaufman, and Milos Forman's directing it.
Wow.
It's going really well.
Why
Yeah,
don't you produce a movie for you and Rhea? People would love to see
Rhea
it.
was
You
in
could be
Matilda.
You did that Matilda.
She was in
Yeah,
Matilda
that's
with
true.
me.
Couple,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
two were.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do more? I mean,
Scary.
Well, we want to do more. It's
could
a
be the
matter
months or
of
whatever.
finding the right material, and
Months.
Now, my
Yeah.
ever going That's 1920.
That was good. Fred and Ethel.
and
I don't mean Fred and
Ginger.
Ethel. Fred and Ginger.
Yeah.
Fred and Ginger. Yeah, you like dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, There's a great scene in the movie that I absolutely love, by the way, where there's a whole bunch of dancing going on, little kinky dancing going on.
Yeah.
But you could do like an
Little
epic, like a
bump and
Rob
grind
Roy.
kind of dancing.
Let's see
Well,
you
we
do
could
it.
do a lot of movies. We're doing a lot of movies at Jersey. Jersey Films is the company. And we did Living Out Loud. And, Man on the Moon, we did Pulp Fiction, we did Get Shorty.
Danny, when you were back there in Asbury putting the rollers on those 3 hairs, did you ever think you'd be a big director, movie star? My God.
I never did. I thought, I hadn't any idea.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Well, you are absolutely great at Living Out Loud. It's a wonderful date movie. You can take your boyfriend, you can nudge him every time he doesn't do something as wonderful as your character does.
Thank you.
I fell in love with your character.
Thank you very
And
much.
I would have done you an elevator, swearly. I really would. Honestly, I would have. And I think you should. Now playing in theaters everywhere. Now, when we come back, does your man constantly scope out other women and blatantly flirt? What?
You don't do that, do you?
Please. Even when you're together, I don't even want to know about it. We'll show you how to make him see the error of his philandering ways when we look at your man's deadly sin of lust.
Ooh,
say that word with me, everybody here. Lust. We'll be right back.
Later, he's hot, he's sexy, and he's making it chic to write incredible pop tunes. Straight from the top of the charts, Duncan Sheik sings his hit, Bite Your Tongue.
I have no intention.
Does your man constantly ogle every woman who walks by? Does he flirt mercilessly in public, even if you're standing right next to him? Does he make you feel like chopped liver when he should be treating you like steak? Ooh. All this month, we're going to discuss your man's 7 deadly sins, as if there were only 7. Today, for example, we're going to discuss lust. Now, most men I know are in the triple digits already on this subject. We have today Mary and Grady. These 2 young, lovely people have been together for 4 years, and his eyes are still wandering at breakneck speed, and Mary wants him to get his eyes checked at the door. Here to give the 2 of them a hand is clinical psychologist and author of Instant Analysis, Dr. David J. Lieberman. Thank you all for being here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Now, I think, Doctor, we know what lust is. Do you have a quick definition for lust?
Well, the exact definition is lust is an intense sexual desire or appetite.
Okay. Now, tell us
well, not
how...
appetite meaning
Yeah.
Okay.
We got it.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Tell us how he acts in public.
Well, for instance, we'll go into a restaurant. We went to a comedy club not too long ago, my girlfriends and I and Grady. And we walk in the door, and as soon as we get in the door, he looks all over the room, does this, looks, and then if there's a woman there that catches his eye, it's immediate. And then he'll go throughout the rest of the room, and then that woman will be the one he looks back at the whole time.
Oh, so he picks one?
He picks, well, 1 or 2, you know.
So he's monogamous?
Well, yeah, he'll go throughout the room. If there's 2 or 3 of them, and then he'll set his chair kind of a little bit aside, and if they walk by, you'll hear this,
He'll be making the noise.
Oh, he'll make noises, all kinds of noises.
What other noises does he?
You know, oh, God, Or he'll whistle. Real underneath his breath, you know, so I can't hear, you know, or he thinks I can't hear. So he'll do this, as they're walking by, or he'll make comments on, God, that looks good.
Grady, is that true?
Yeah.
Well, I reckon I did get caught a couple times there.
Yeah.
Got caught. So you do it. You acknowledge that you do it in front of Mary, and that's cool.
I believe it is a young man's duty to...
It's true.
That is so I want to hear what? It's a young man's duty.
To take notice of all the women, you know.
That's just it. Sometimes his behavior is not an attempt to be rude or disrespectful. It's this is how he was brought up. This is what he thinks is appropriate. So that's why one of the first steps in dealing with it is actually confronting it and explaining to him that this is not appropriate. I don't know how whistling is going to be a strategy for meeting women, but it is inappropriate.
No, but he's not out to meet them. He's just out to ogle them.
Would you like to meet them, too?
I mean, yeah.
No, he doesn't go up and talk to them, but he acknowledges that they're there, and he makes sure that they know that he is looking at.
And how does it make you feel when he acts like that?
Well, it actually kind of depends. If she's better looking than me, I'm offended.
And if she's not?
Well, then I just laugh. Then it's just funny.
I say, all right.
But have you said to Grady, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this, don't do this?
Well, and his response basically is that women were put on this earth to look at and admire.
What are you, Vincent Van Gogh?
See, also what's going on here is more of a matter of power. He does this in front of her on purpose. He says he's being discreet, but he's not, because it makes her feel less secure, less comfortable, and that in turn makes him feel more powerful, which is the same reason why he whistles at women, because it's very demeaning. In much the same way as you'd stare at a caged animal, it puts you in a position of power and authority.
Oh, Grady.
Well, I don't know about all that.
How would you sum it up then?
Women take a lot of time to get themselves all prettied up, you know, and they want to be noticed.
He's altruistic. You see, that's the thing. He actually thinks he's doing a service.
Right.
Yeah, and he does, too. He does.
I take pleasure in noticing them.
Yeah. Hank is our researcher. Hank, what do you think of Mary?
say she looks really fine.
Thank you.
It's hot, would you say?
Very hot.
Yeah?
Yep.
How hot?
Extremely. Look at her. She's gorgeous.
How do you feel, Grady? How do you like that?
How do you like
I
that?
agree.
Grady, come on. Now, if he was at a club doing that to Mary, would you like it? Do you like it when men ogle her?
Yes, I do.
You do?
He's proud of it. He thinks it's great.
Do you think something else is going on here besides this?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? Tell us, Doctor.
I think Grady has a couple of issues here in dealing with women. Understand, when he lusts after women, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. How it affects her, but his lusting, if he was with, you know, a supermodel with an IQ of 200, he'd still be doing the same behavior.
So it has nothing to do with her, is what you're saying, but it still makes her feel bad. At the very least, it's rude.
It's rude, it's insulting, it's degrading, it's...
Right.
So why do you stick it out, Mary?
Well, we've been together a long time, and I don't
What
know,
are his
I
good
love him.
qualities? Tell
He
us
has
about
some
the
really
good Grady.
qualities. He does, you know, he's always doing little sweet things for me, you know, helps me out around the house. Like, he'll do dishes, he'll help me clean up the house and stuff, and he'll cook with me, we cook together, you know, we do a lot of fun things together.
Great eyesight, yeah.
So as long as there are no other women around, you're doing fine with him.
Right.
Yeah,
as long as there's no other women around.
No.
And I have gorgeous sisters, you know, and they'll come over and drop by, and he looks at them, too. And
he can't help it.
He just can't help it.
Yeah.
We'll drive down the road.
Grady, if I offered you $100,000 for the next week not to look at other women, do you think you could manage that?
No.
Yes.
There's no way.
Grady can help
And
it.
Grady, you don't want to cheat on this young, beautiful woman, do you? You just want to
Absolutely
look.
not.
Well, maybe, you know, what are the things that women can do if they're in this situation?
Definite ways, if your man is lusting after other women,
Yes.
a couple of definite do's and don'ts. Number one, always confront him first. He may, one, not be aware of what he's doing. He may not be aware that it's that obvious, and he may not be aware of what it's doing to you. Number two, ask him for his motivation. You want to, at least for your own edification, understand why he's doing what he's doing. And number three, most importantly, provide an ultimatum. You need to let him know that this behavior is unacceptable. People will treat you the way you train them to. She has trained him that it's okay for this to go on.
If Mary said to you, Grady, stop it or I'm dumping you, would you stop it?
Probably not.
No.
You wouldn't. So you
I don't
prefer
think I could deal with that.
your behavior is more important to you than she is. Is that what you're saying?
I told her one time that if I ever quit looking around, that
Shoot him.
want her to shoot me like a
Because you feel it would be less of a
lame
manly
horse.
thing? Is that where you're at? It's
Lame
like a
horse.
man thing.
Well,
Yeah.
There's always so many simple pleasures in life, and
Try Ben and Jerry's.
beautiful things.
Thank you so much, Mary and Grady, and Dr. Liebman for that very funny last line. Whose book, by the way, is called Instant Analysis. When we come back, the red-hot Duncan Sheik will sing his hit, Bite Your Tongue. We'll be right back.
Next week, throw your hats in the air for the best-loved woman in TV history. Mary Tyler Moore stops by to brighten the view. And he's grown up on one of television's hottest shows, Home Improvement's Jonathan Taylor Thomas, on going from New Kid on the Tube to Teen Heartthrob.
World overflowing with forgettable one-hit wonders, Duncan Sheik is a rare gem. From the first time you hear one of his songs, you know it will stay with you for a very, very long time. The critics love him, and so will you. Here to perform his hit, Bite Your Tongue Off, his CD humming, please welcome Duncan Sheik.
Such an annoying conversation. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of trying to be some picture of compassion. And anyway, it sounds like I'm lying. Yes, I've heard the world has conspired to steal away your God-given right to a happy home and comfortable children. Next, you'll sue them for abandoning you to bite your tongue. You're not the only one who's been let down. Oh Christ, it's gonna sound like I'm agreeing pop psychological Western gurus who haven't gotten lucky in years. So you see, I have no intention of giving you the easy way out. And yes, I'll smile as I burn the self-help section of my local bookstore. So bite your tongue. You're not the only one who's been let down. Bite your tongue. Maybe it's good for you to hit the ground. Blame the shapes and blame the angles. Blame it on your own dark flame. If you blame on something other, pick some song remains. So bite your tongue. You're not the only one who's been let down. Bite your tongue. Maybe it's good for you. Hit the ground.
Not bad. Hey, thank you so very much. Wonderful job. Bite your tongue, baby. That's wonderful. You guys go out and get this here. It's called Humming, and this is Duncan Sheik. Thank you very much, and we'll be right back.
If your husband have a hard time controlling his anger, give us a call if you'd like to learn how to help him control his temper and regain your trust.
Come to St. Ives. Discover Swiss Formula Body Lotion Mist. Spray on your lotion in no time. Body Lotion Mist has micro-powered moisturizers that speed into your skin.
Soft and silky. In seconds.
Come to St. Ives.
Ready to take the wheel? With Thunder, you can get behind the wheel. The wheel shakes in your hands just like
Tonka's new Rumblin' Thunder is the only RC 4x4 with a real feel steering wheel. Rumblin' Thunder from Tonka.
So your client is asking for 9 cup holders in the 7-passenger vehicle?
Backup beverages, Jack.
And your client wants a disappearing third seat. What is this, a magic show?
You ever tried taking one of those things out?
My client doesn't think we even need a third seat.
Objection. My client sleeps back there.
The all-new, easy-to-use, something for everyone Honda Odyssey. It's one big happy minivan.
All at one cymbal let out a mighty roar. Then the evil Zera roared even louder.
What you doing?
Playing Lion King with Daddy.
Now McDonald's has all the fun and adventure of Disney's brand new video, The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride. In a Happy Meal, you get one wonderfully squishy animal just for buying the food your kids already love.
See? Pumbaa.
Only at McDonald's.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
My son wouldn't drink his milk, so I worried about his nutrition. But then I tried Ovaltine, and now he loves his milk. Ovaltine tastes great and adds vitamins. Nestle Quick adds none. So milk not only tastes better, it's better for you.
Ovaltine makes milk even better.
Statistics show that 40% of all kids who smoke marijuana live in the city. Guess where the other 60% live?
My mom.
Bite your tongue, huh? Bite your tongue. What's your name? I love that. Bite your tongue. No, I enjoyed that.
I wanted to be out here for that segment with that boy that looks around
bite
at
that
the
guy,
women.
Grady.
Who, the Lester?
Yeah, he had a lot of nerve.
What happens to you when you're out with a guy and they're looking at other women? You too. You were not in the segment.
I mean, if the guy's looking and just glancing over, that's fine. But if he's ogling, I'm going to say, excuse me, if you want to sit with her, go over there.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, boom.
You know, you always read about these great women courtesans, temptresses like Pamela Harriman, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And they say, and what she did with a man is she looked at him as if he were the only man in the room. She never took her eyes off him. That's what the woman's supposed to do, right? Never take your eyes off him. Am I getting to you?
Kiss me, Barbara.
But the man, it's okay, it's my thing, I can look.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, what do you do then if a man does that around you?
They never do. Do you remember, do any of you remember Jimmy Carter? Have
Yes, I remember Jimmy Carter.
Do you remember? Okay.
The lust in your heart line that lost him the presidency, or some say. No, I'm sorry.
You think that lost him the presidency?
No.
Clinton does this and lust in your heart loses Clinton.
Well, that was a big actually, it won him the presidency, didn't it? He said it before he became president. I take it all back. That won him the presidency.
Okay, good.
Right.
The point of it is that you can have lust in your heart, but you don't have to sit with someone looking all over the room. I don't know.
And
It's
this guy
so
does
insulting.
wolf whistles.
Yeah.
I mean, and she's staying with him.
She loves him.
She needs a course in self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he needs a good smack.
But he really does. He needs a course in etiquette. You don't do that.
Well, on that note, with lust in our heart and love for all our guests, right?
Especially Danny DeVito.
He's adorable. He's cute.
Very cute.
Thank you to all of our guests. You have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.